Hey, this is NBA shooting coach Dave Love. We're going to spend about 15 minutes or so looking at your shot. I appreciate you taking the time to take the video and get it to me. One of the things that I need you to do before we get into the video itself is see if you can find a way to download the video from the web page that you're watching it on now. It will be on this web page for, I would say, 4 to 6 months at least. But eventually, I only have a certain amount of space, and eventually the oldest video will be deleted to make room for the newest video. So just be aware that will happen in about 4 to 6 months or so, and if you can, just find a way to save the or download the video from the web page. Right-click, save as, or something like that. But let's start with your video, and we'll get into it. Just be aware, and this is more a time thing and shot block thing. Right now, the ball has just hit your hand, so you've just caught a pass, and then you're going to take either one or 1.5 steps sort of into that shot. Try and have your feet set as the ball is hitting your hand. So you can still take the same footwork, but the footwork should be this footwork should be occurring like right about now, so that your feet are set then when the ball hits your hands, rather than wasting that time. If you have time to take a step or two, then the defender has time to take a step or two, so just be careful of that. I agree with the idea of shoulder width apart, but I hate the fact that when we started talking about the width of our feet, and we picked the shoulders as the reference point because you can't really see your shoulder. So I always talk about getting hip width apart, which is about the same. And I want the insides of your feet to be the same width as your hips. When you can do that, you're able to withstand all the energy that you create in the course of a basketball game, whether it's moving laterally, moving towards the hoop, away from the hoop, pivots, rotations. The width of your feet will play a large role in your ability to stop all of that energy so that you can quickly make yourself stationary and shoot the ball with positive power, which is power going towards the hoop and straight up in the air. So if your feet are too close together, and I would say you're a little bit too close together here, then you're going to have trouble stopping that energy, and you're either going to shoot off-balance shot or have to waste time to get the shot off. So I would go a little bit wider. I try and encourage toes to be pointed at the rim, which I would say you're very close to being, if not totally. The reason for it is you generate a lot of your power right in here with your feet, and that energy flows in the direction of your feet. So you start flat-footed, you rock up onto your toes, and then up into the air, and that energy tends to go in the direction of the that your toes are pointed. So if you point your toes over here, then you're going to rock up into your toes that direction, and your center of gravity is going to travel a little bit that way, and the ball will travel a little bit that way. So we want to make sure instead that all those things work together. You point your toes at the rim, you rock up onto your toes, the center of gravity goes towards the hoop, and the index finger and the release goes towards the hoop. So just be aware of that. Next thing I want to see is that you're using your legs evenly. This is especially a big one for the kids. They end up pushing way more with their right leg or potentially rotating. We want to keep your shot as simple as we can. Point the body at the hoop, jump straight up in the air, and you can see you're doing that pretty well. Maybe a little bit loaded up onto your left side where you've got a little bit more weight on that foot than that foot. So just see if you can focus on getting even weight on both feet there. And then you basically jump up and down without much rotation, maybe a little bit, but not too bad. Next thing, the way you hold the basketball looks good. I can see your index finger on the top of the basketball, or very close to the top of the basketball. Non-shooting hand on the side, that's great. We want to now see the ball being lifted in a straight line as opposed to something like that. And you can see you do that very well, which means your index finger should now be very close to the bottom of the basketball. And when we can do that, the ball is going to be on line. No real push with the non-shooting hand. That's good. Now a little bit, just watching balls coming off your middle finger on that one. It comes off your index finger better on the neck, so that's just the variety of two different shots. Sometimes we make mistakes. You can see that lean in the spine. Check to see that you've got the ball on the fingers, fingerprints, and onto the fingers off the palm of your hand. I'll just give you a little bit better control over the ball. You can see this one comes off your index finger better. Index finger's more closer to the bottom of the basketball there. Slightly offline, but pretty close. And you get kind of a fake follow through. We'll see this on the side. When the ball gets stuck in the palm of your hand, there's a tendency to shoot it with the palm and then not need to snap the wrist. And so I want to see you get the ball onto the fingers. I would guess based on this that your ball doesn't spin a lot. And so to get that rotation and really funnel the ball to the correct, to the index finger a little bit better, just see if you can get the ball into your fingers and off the palm of your hand. View from the side here. Maybe you have the ball a little bit closer to your body, not too bad, but we can, in a perfect world, it's there. Ignore my phone ringing. What we want to avoid is the ball making this kind of a ball path, because it's hard to repeat. Instead, we want to just close to the body, straight up, and then slightly forward. Good position here. This is great. I like basically the appearance of a square, and you've got that. You're even really flexible in your wrist, where you're able to go potentially a little bit past parallel with your hand. I might like to see that parallel or a little bit short of parallel, because ultimately we want the ball going this direction. We want the ball going up and slightly forward. And so your hand should be at an angle where it can lift the ball up and slightly forward. Right now your hand wants to lift it slightly backwards, actually, and the first thing you have to do is sort of make a correction. So you can see not quite getting the wrist snap. You stop it there and then snap it at the end. I want you to spend 20 shots off a hoop, so just shooting along a line, and just with each one really try and hold the ball in the fingerprints and focus on really snapping your wrist and get the ball spinning as much as you can, and learn to trust that that motion. Ooh, windy day there. Look at those trees going. You saying no chance of making this one, it's not your fault. Really good here. Good lift. From this position, we got to see the elbow lifting up. And it's kind of happening late. So the elbow should initiate this motion. Elbow should be going up just a couple of frames before the ball starts moving forward. And you've got more of a forward motion than the up. So see if you can flip those around. Get the ball lifting up first and then coming forward rather than forward then up. All right, now I got to remind myself that the wind is blowing left to right, so I'm not going to be. All right. Good video quality here. This is great to be able to see this clearly. There's a basketball, index finger, middle finger. What I want you to work to do is just see if you can get that index finger right on the bottom and along the target line. For me, to make this happen, I need to feel a little stretch right there, just sort of on the back of the armpit. Feel a little stretch. It's sort of another way of saying, you know, get your elbow in just a little bit more. We got to get to index finger right there on the basketball. Otherwise, the ball is not going to consistently go straight. You can see it's coming off 2 fingers, and now you got 2 variables. You got the index finger that's pushing the ball slightly this way, and the middle finger that's pushing it slightly that way. Because it's coming off both last, we want the index finger to be there and it's pushing right along the target line. So you can see the ball just doesn't quite spin purely because... actually, I'm not going to get too picky on that because that might be just the way that you held the laces. So that's where I'd want you. This is much better, but then you sort of drift. So you start off here, index finger on the bottom of the ball, and then by this point you're much closer to both fingers. Good drill for you is to start the ball there, hold it there. I call it isolation drill. Start the ball and hold it there for 3 seconds with your index finger right on the bottom of the basketball, right along your target line. Be super picky with that. Like, index finger has to be there. And then with your normal grip, just take your pinky finger 1/8 of an inch or like 1/2 of a centimeter off the basketball. And do form shooting now with your pinky off the ball. Normal grip, just not your pinky not touching. And that'll really help you feel the index finger or ball coming off the index finger a little bit more. It sort of forces the ball that way into your hand. So 4-finger isolation drill would be a recommendation for you. I'm just curious. I want to see how much the ball spins. Okay, it's not too bad. Alright, so let's do a quick review. Get your feet set before the ball gets in your hand or as the ball is getting in your hand. Maybe a little bit wider. Don't lean onto your left side. Even weight on both feet. Ball off the palm of your hand more into your fingerprints. Really good position here. Just don't go past parallel. Elbow lifting up, then wrist snapping forward, not forward then up. And really snap the wrist. Get your vitamins every day. We're snapping the wrist, getting as much spin on the ball as you possibly can. Get used to controlling that. Man, I hope it's not always that windy there. Tough to figure out if you caused the miss or if the wind caused the miss. And then index finger right on the bottom of the basketball. Practice your form shooting with the pinky off the ball, and getting that index finger as 1 variable instead 2 variables, index finger and ring and middle finger. So if you have questions, the best way to ask questions is on the email address info@CoachDaveLove. That'll come directly to me, and you can ask questions that way. Enjoyed watching your video. You've got a nice little shot there. I shouldn't say little. Nice shot there. And I appreciate all your support. So look for more emails coming over the next little bit, and we'll chat soon. Take care.